Most people believe that once a wild animal is rescued, it's only a matter of time before they leave to return to the wild. But what if they stayed and did something completely shocking? Hi everyone. Today I'm going to tell you the unbelievable story of Loki, a baby raccoon saved from certain death. But after being rescued, Loki didn't just go on his way. Instead, he did something that would change the life of the man who saved him forever. Stay with us here at Animals Need Love as we dive into this jaw-dropping tale. It was a quiet afternoon in Cat's suburban neighborhood when he stepped out into his yard, the sun casting a warm glow over the garden. He had just finished mowing the lawn when something unusual caught his eye near the base of an old oak tree. At first, it seemed like a bundle of leaves or debris, but as he stepped closer, his heart skipped a beat. There, lying motionless in the grass, was a tiny, trembling baby raccoon. His fur was matted with dirt, and his little body was so thin that Cat could count every rib. The raccoon wasn't moving. Cat knelt down, fear gripping his chest as he gently nudged the small creature with his hand. "Hey there, little one," Cat whispered, his voice soft but filled with concern. The raccoon didn't respond. Cat's mind raced. He scanned the tree above, looking for any sign of a mother raccoon or other wildlife, but found nothing. After a few minutes, Cat realized the harsh truth. The baby raccoon had fallen from the tree, and it seemed the mother had either abandoned it or simply couldn't find her way back. Cat looked around one more time, hoping for a miracle, but none came. He knew the baby wouldn't survive on its own, not in the condition it was in. Without hesitation, he scooped the little animal into his arms, careful not to hurt it further. "Don't worry, little guy, I've got you," he murmured, his voice steady despite the rising panic inside him. Once inside, Cat immediately set to work. He placed the baby raccoon on a soft blanket in the corner of his living room. The little creature was weak, shivering and barely breathing. His eyes were dull, and Cat could see signs of dehydration, parasites, and small abscesses on his skin. Cat rushed to the kitchen, grabbing a small syringe and a bottle of electrolyte solution he had from a previous animal emergency. He had never taken care of a raccoon before, but he had helped animals in the past and knew the basics of emergency care. "All right, buddy, you're gonna need a lot of fluids," Cat said, gently prying open the raccoon's mouth and carefully administering the solution. The little creature resisted at first, but finally drank, his body seeming to respond to the nourishment. Cat couldn't help but sigh in relief, even if just for a moment. For the next several days, Cat devoted himself to caring for the tiny raccoon, whom he now called Loki. He bottle-fed him every few hours, keeping a strict schedule to ensure that Loki received the nutrition and hydration he desperately needed. Cat cleaned his wounds, treated his parasites, and gave him a safe, warm place to rest. Loki slowly began to show signs of improvement. His once lifeless eyes started to brighten, and he even began to show some playful curiosity, nudging Cat's hand or pawing at his fingers. "Good boy, Loki," Cat said with a smile, watching as the raccoon took a few hesitant steps around the room, his tiny legs unsteady but eager. "You're a fighter." As the days turned into weeks, Loki's strength grew, and with it, a bond began to form between him and Cat. The little raccoon, once a fragile baby, now had a spark of life that could only be attributed to Cat's unwavering care. As Loki grew stronger, Cat knew the time would come when he would need to give the raccoon the freedom to roam. After all, raccoons are wild animals. And despite his attachment to Loki, Cat understood that Loki belonged in the wild. He wanted to give Loki a chance to live the life he was meant to live. One day, Cat opened the back door, allowing Loki to wander freely into the yard. "Go ahead, buddy," he said softly. "You're free. Explore," This is your home now, just as much as it's mine." Cat stepped back, watching as Loki hesitated at the doorway, his little paws moving slowly toward the open world. For a brief moment, Cat thought Loki would run off into the wilds of the yard, perhaps into the nearby woods. But Loki didn't leave. Instead, he turned around, looking back at Cat with a small tilt of his head. Then, without any hesitation, he scampered back to Cat's feet and looked up at him with his bright eyes. Cat's heart swelled. "You're not going anywhere, are you?" Loki let out a soft chirp and curled up at Cat's feet, refusing to leave his side. Cat chuckled softly, crouching down to stroke the raccoon's soft fur. "Well, I guess we're stuck with each other then." From that day forward, Loki continued to stay with Cat, despite having the freedom to come and go as he pleased. Whenever Cat stepped outside, Loki was always close behind, following him around the yard like a shadow. If Cat went inside, Loki would be waiting by the door to be let in again. It wasn't just that Loki didn't want to leave. It was clear that he had formed an emotional attachment to Cat. The raccoon would follow him everywhere, even climbing into his lap. When he sat down and curling up to sleep beside him at night. "Guess I've got a raccoon for a roommate," Cat joked one evening, watching as Loki snuggled up on the couch with him. "You really do like being around me, don't you?" Loki responded by giving Cat a gentle nudge with his head, almost as if to say, "Of course I do." From that moment on, Cat realized that Loki wasn't just a rescued animal. He was a companion, a friend, and perhaps even a part of the family. It was an attachment that neither of them could explain, but it was undeniable. Loki had found a home with Cat, and Cat had found something in Loki that he hadn't expected: unconditional, unwavering loyalty. But what Cat didn't know was that this bond would soon become something even more extraordinary than he could have imagined. Living with a wild animal like Loki came with its own set of challenges, some of which Cat had never anticipated. While the bond between him and the raccoon was strong, Loki's wild instincts often clashed with the domestic environment Cat had created. Raccoons are notoriously curious and mischievous creatures, and Loki was no exception. Cat learned quickly that Loki's small paws could open almost anything. No cupboard or drawer was safe from his inquisitive hands. Loki would rummage through the kitchen, pulling out bags of chips, utensils, or even bottles of soap. "Not again, Loki," Cat would often exclaim, finding a trail of mischief in the wake of his raccoon's exploration. One evening, Cat found that Loki had knocked over a flower pot in the living room, its soil scattered all over the floor. "I guess this is what I get for letting you roam free," he sighed, trying to clean up the mess. Loki stood nearby, watching with wide eyes as if he knew exactly what he'd done. There were also more serious challenges, like Loki's occasional aggression. During mating season, Loki became unpredictable. He would growl, hiss, and even nip at Cat, something Cat had been warned about by a wildlife rehabilitator when he first started caring for the raccoon. Loki's behavior could become aggressive when he was frustrated or threatened. There was one instance where, in a moment of misjudgment, Cat let his guard down and Loki bit his hand hard. Cat winced, feeling the sharp pain, but he knew it wasn't personal. It was just Loki's instincts taking over. "All right, buddy, I get it," Cat would say, trying to calm Loki down. "But we still need to respect each other." Despite the challenges, Cat never considered giving up on Loki. He understood that the raccoon was wild at heart, and no amount of domestication could change that. The mischief, the chaos, and even the occasional bite were part of living with such an extraordinary creature. As the months passed, Loki's health began to show signs of decline, a reality that Cat could not ignore. One morning, Loki didn't come running to the door as usual. Cat called out for him, his voice filled with worry. Loki? Where are you, boy? After searching the yard, Cat found Loki lying in his usual spot under a tree. But something was different. Loki's fur looked dull and his eyes were no longer bright and curious. Cat's heart sank. He knelt down next to him, gently stroking his fur. Loki? Cat called softly, but the raccoon didn't respond in his usual playful way. Instead, Loki just looked up at Cat with tired eyes, barely moving. It was as if he knew something Cat didn't want to face. The next few days were filled with concern. Loki became weaker, no longer moving around as much and spending most of his time resting. Cat took him to the vet, desperate for an answer. The diagnosis was grim. Loki had suffered complications from a recent vaccination, which weakened his immune system and caused an infection that was spreading throughout his body. The vet explained that Loki's condition was serious, and there wasn't much they could do. "I'm so sorry, Loki," Cat whispered, tears welling up in his eyes. "I never thought this would happen." Cat did everything he could to make Loki as comfortable as possible. He stayed by his side, offering food and water, gently petting him and talking to him like he always had. But the raccoon's health continued to decline. One morning, Cat woke to find Loki lying in his favorite spot by the window. His breathing was shallow, and his body no longer stirred when Cat called his name. With tears in his eyes, Cat reached out and held Loki close, feeling the warmth of the raccoon's body slowly fade away. "You've been such a good friend," Cat whispered through his sobs. "I love you, Loki." Loki passed away peacefully in Cat's arms that day, just over a year after Cat had found him lying injured in the yard. After Loki's passing, Cat was overwhelmed with grief, spending days in the spot where Loki used to rest. Memories of the playful raccoon flooded his mind. "I never expected this bond to be so strong," Cat reflected. "I thought I was just saving a life, but he changed mine forever." Loki wasn't just a rescued animal. He had found something in Cat that made him want to stay. Their connection was about freedom and a deep bond, showing true love and trust. As Cat placed Loki's favorite blanket in the yard, he whispered, "You were my sunshine, Loki. I'll never forget you." Though Loki's life was short, his memory would live on in Cat's heart, a reminder of their unexpected yet powerful bond. What do you think about the bond between Cat and Loki? Have you ever experienced a connection with an animal that changed your life? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching to the end. If you find our video interesting, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with others. Finally, don't forget to turn on our bell and subscribe to our channel. Animals need love, so you don't miss any of our new videos. Thank you for your support. Wishing you all peace, happiness, take care, and we'll see you in the next one.